yet. We got, now it is. Some people, I forgot the real estate summit was today. So some people might be at that. So we might be a little bit lower on some of the, I think it's today.
Well, I hope somebody's at it.
Yeah. Is it what?
Numbers.
It is. Okay, so it is numbers day. However, like everything, there's changes, right? And we did a really big change with command on how numbers were reported. So they have not come out this month yet, or fully came out because they're switching kind of the format, on how they're portrayed and delivered to us. So we're gonna do something more fun and it's gonna be productive and awesome, but we're gonna start out with some bucket fills and what's good. Who's got something good? You might have already been welcomed back last week, but you know, I wasn't here, so I'm still gonna do it. All right, what's good? What are some bucket fills? Good things going on?
I will bucket fill the leadership team because I had the awesome opportunity to go to career visioning a couple of weeks ago and just learning about what it takes to build a team, how personalities complement each other, what that whole process looks like. And it was really insightful and I appreciate the opportunity for growth.
Awesome. I heard it was really good and I heard the instructor was engaging and it was really well done. So I'm glad you went. What else? What else is good?
I'll just say, being newer to the marketplace, I'm going around asking all kinds of dumb questions and no one says they're dumb. Everyone answers in their own way. And I appreciate that.
Just don't stick around when they're laughing.
I ask and then I run.
Answer is right. All right, awesome. What else? What else is good? I won.
So, I've been in real estate for a few years now, and this is the first year that I've had the opportunity to leave the country for 3 months. We took our kids out of school, we homeschooled, we saw a different country and explored different things. And, that would have not been an opportunity we would have had if I wasn't in real estate. And, I'm just thankful for the opportunity and the career that we all can live, and, it was great.
Awesome. And I'm happy to be back.
We're happy.
I'm happy to be back. What else? What else is good?
PE tomorrow is good.
Who's going?
Yes, it is.
So I want to actually bucket fill Candy for that because I went into Heather's office, but it's now our office while Heather's gone because we just kind of hang out in there and look at the training calendar. And there are 5 CE credits tomorrow. There are 3.5 in May so far. And I will have my CE done because of Candy prior to June, before June even starts. And if you're like me, it's usually not done until June 29th. Or whatever day that is, right? It's supposed to be the 15th, but I think they give you some lead time. So if you're not taking advantage of this and you're one of those people that leaves it until the end and then you have to buy it on the CE shop and, you know, kind of binge it for 2 days, don't. Like, you have free access to CE, 8.5 credits in the next 30 days, right? So if you haven't signed up, go ahead and sign up for those. And she's done a lot of work to get those here. It's not easy to just, you know, find someone to come teach it that is actually certified for CE. So thank you for that, because I'm incredibly grateful.
So they're here.
They're here. Yep. Tomorrow it is 10 to 3, 10 to 3:30. Yeah, there's a little break.
We're just sponsoring lunch for us tomorrow, so you can come and eat too. Thank you, Supreme Lindy.
Yeah.
for
But
that.
you can only eat if you're at the CE.
Yeah, totally. Because there's a really, there's a short time. Lunch is gonna be quick.
Anything else,
What a motivation.
right? I also want to bucket fill Lydia because Lydia, last week, it's gonna be like the standing ovation, quite honestly. So I took an actual like vacation, not just like a trip, and it was a vacation that had no intention of anything, for a long time. And then Candy went on vacation or was not here, and then Heather has now left for a month. And Lydia was here and there were no fires. I came back. There was nothing that she told me that was horrible, like that happened. So, we couldn't all do this without people like Lydia. And I am incredibly grateful because I'm guessing those few days were a little stressful for her.
And she does it with a smile on her face, like
She does.
and she still smiles at you and looks gracious. Lovely.
Yeah, absolutely, she does. It's one where I think, I said this yesterday, I think it was to Heather, actually, Terry, we were sitting there coaching, and I said, I don't think that sometimes agents understand, what the leadership team goes through, right? So you're all our clients. We love all of you. But we have you year after year after year after year, right? And you guys get upset at your clients when they complain about something and then they're like done after 60 days. That is not the case with agents. Okay, so it's you know, it's one where it can be really draining. And a lot of times the problems don't come to me until they're big, right? But Lydia and Candy and a lot of times Heather like get faced with daily things, multiple things daily, and they do it with a smile on their face, and it's incredible. So really grateful for them.
I do know that when you went on your vacation and said, I'm gonna totally shut down, I'm not gonna do anything. I think it was one day, I think I got it. I said, hey, where's the shutting down?
I only opened my computer like 3 times total, and all of a sudden he goes, I thought you were just not, and I was like, oh, I need to do a few things today, and then I'll shut down. Yeah, that was real. Anything else? Anything else that's good? Rick,
Alex. Can't pronounce her last name. Say that again. Chacho McLean. There you go. Did an open house for us, just, a few minutes west in Waverly. And so first of all, thank you so much for going out there. She did a great job. We ended up selling it that day, but it was really nice that she was willing to go out there. I know she lives a little bit west, but it's helpful to have people all over the place.
where's Waverly?
Yeah, it's west of everything. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. And you sold it that day? Like she sold it for you?
No, it just happened to line up that way, it's like, you go on vacation and stuff happens, so, but she did, she did. Well, that's the way it goes, right?
Yeah. Awesome.
That's very helpful.
Super cool. All right. That's it? Okay. Also, John's back, by the way, in person.
If you didn't notice.
Amy, I got one more, and I just remembered it because this Yahoo just walked in late. But these guys helped us with a very complicated, expensive, market analysis on a property that I'll be listing in Minnetonka. It's one of those kind of unicorn properties, and I just needed a second perspective on it, so I had the twins take a look at all the details, so they're very helpful. We aligned pretty closely, so.
Awesome. Super cool. All right. April training calendar. So free CE Blitz tomorrow, multiple things there. And when you go in, I sent out an email, Lydia sent out an email. You can go to each one separately, right? So you don't have to be here all day. If you only want to go to one of them, great. You click on it, you register just so that we know. I think each one of them is about 50 people already, 50 to 55 people. We do have people outside of this company coming to these. So, there's going to be a mix of KW agents and non-KW agents. Anybody have questions around those at all? I mean, some of them seem really interesting. I mean, they're sometimes it's not. You want to talk about this?
Yes, so this is a really awesome opportunity. So mark your calendar right now for April 15th. It's next Tuesday. David Zimmerman, who is like everything MLS, right? So he's going to come in and just kind of touch on some of the core logic tools that we use every day and maybe show us some things that could help us save time. But also, they've been sending out information about these new tools or use this or check this out. And if you're like me, you're like, do I really need that? So come in and see maybe what those are about. Bring your questions if you're like, hey, do we have this? Or maybe we can get something like this. He would be the person to talk to. So please come and join that class and just hear what he has to say about all the tools that we use every day.
I think the really cool thing about this is a lot of people go into MLS and they do like 3 different things, right? They go in, they search, they do an auto email, they might do a CMA in it, book, you know, the showing time. I would say book a showing still. Totally dates me. Showing time, and then there's like, we don't even utilize all of the things in each of those, right? There's a lot of information within the MLS and the tools that it has in place to get information to give your clients or just to educate yourself. B, to put on, you know, any social site or any of your newsletters, that it's just an opportunity to see what they have, right? Because you get those like little things that pop up and it's like, learn more. How many of you learn more at that moment? Nobody, right? So you never go back in and look at the tools, okay? And you're like, I don't have time for this. And then you don't go back and see it. And there's some really cool things within there that you can get information to help you when you're, you know, helping buyers or sellers. So this is a good class to come to if there's anything that you want to know about that and utilize it. Happy hour. Next Wednesday, correct?
Yep.
Kona Grill, anything you want to say about the topic for that?
No, not yet.
Yeah, just celebrate that tax day's over.
Not, they're real estate agents. They defer that till October. What are you talking about?
During the fall. Yeah, we'll celebrate.
Oh, 25% of people that'll be done on the 15th, and that's a high number.
Yeah, one of the things that we've been talking about in a couple of the classes here is what to do in multiple offer situations.
We're talking about that today.
Yeah, and so that would be something that we it would be really good while we're there to just kind of go through, you know, back and forth with each other and just talk about what people are doing, because those have been some great conversations. But it's also like right across the street, and Kona's super cool. They've got a great happy hour. It's just a nice environment there. And it's I don't know if it's specifically Japanese, but we can be thinking about Heather when we're there because it's got a
I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah. Okay, so we will be closed next Friday. Usually we say in an emergency, call Heather or I, right? That will not be an option next Friday. So we have given you enough notice. So please put it in your calendar that anything that needs to happen prior to Friday. And that is MLS changes, that is listings, that is every single thing, right, is happening before Friday. If you have an issue with that or you want something put in and it's something that I, not Lydia, not Candy, me, Kami, can do or actually plan for on Friday, I would need to know that by this week, right? Because I'm actually going to be on a plane doing my last college visit with my daughter. And Lydia and Candy are going to be with family. So again, if there is something that you know you were going to put live that day, let me know now this week. Not Friday at noon, not Friday at 3, because it's not going to happen. Just as an FYI, because we are closed that day. Any questions around that?
Kevin said online you can also call him if you have any issues. But let's not have issues.
Kevin was able, yes, great, Kevin, thank you. And obviously, if something comes up that's like a broker question or it's like a 911, usually it's not a 911. It's usually poor planning, right? It's one where it's like, oh, oops, I forgot, right? And that's okay, but we're just kind of giving you a heads up. Taco Tuesday training is on the 22nd. Do you want to chat a little bit about that?
Yeah, just please put it on the calendar. Having in Bart Miller. He's the head of our appraisal management company. He's a guy that knows all, tells all, and is an interesting character in to say the least. I can't do him justice by explaining him. You have to witness it, but he will tell you any question that you might have on anything, on how to, work with an appraiser in any capacity on that. So he's an open book and a great resource for sure.
It's a hot topic right now. Appraisals are a really hot topic with multiple offers everywhere. So it's one where if you have questions, which I'm sure we all do, it's a great time to be able to have someone that you can ask those to and have, legitimate and professional opinion on it.
Yeah, and he's the guy that I go to help. Like Kevin had mentioned, we had one last week where it came down, we had to do a bunch of repairs and stuff like that, and he's my go-to that I called him, he's like, yep, have him do X, Y, and Z. I called the listing agent did X, Y, and Z, boom, we're done, closed on time, no problem. So he's a good resource. I would definitely highly encourage you to come and ask any questions that you have, for sure.
Awesome. Does anybody remember like 3 months ago when we went through all of the things that you had to know to actually get a deal closed besides the purchase agreement and negotiation? Do you guys remember that? It was like 4 team meetings long. And the two that people had the least amount of knowledge about was appraisals and title. Usually those are the least attended classes as well, right? Because we believe we don't need to have any sort of knowledge about that, which is not true, right? And in that situation, most people would be like, I don't know, right? And you still might not know, but even having the connection of someone is a positive. So again, you might not think that we don't need to know that information, but we definitely do. Phil Jones, how many of you know or about Phil Jones, the author of the book, any of the above? Watches videos. He is a remarkable human being. Like, we met him in person actually was it family reunion or was it mega camp? And of course I babbled my way through introducing ourselves and he was like, and I don't know if it was you or him, he's like, oh, so you're supposed to know what you're gonna say before you're gonna say it. And I was like, la, 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 and like totally embarrassed. And I was like, fine, to stand here for a picture. I was also probably red at that moment. But he's someone that when he has a conversation, he's very good at it. And there was one thing that stood out that he said, I think that was also at Mega Camp, was he never answers the phone unless he knows what they're calling about, right? And once they call, usually you leave a message and they're like, I'm calling about XYZ. Since that day, when someone calls and I'm like, I have no idea what is coming at me from this, I usually say, hey, I'm in a meeting, whether I am or I am not. What can I prepare for on this phone call, right? Which allows you to not have a reaction that you don't want to have because you just let someone call you and then ask the question, right? You can either think about what you're going to say or be prepared for it. I mean, that's just one little tidbit of what he said, and he did so much better than I just butchered that. But either way, I took that from him. We also have those cards that I think a few of you have been kind of working with in regards to objection handlers and negotiations. This is a great opportunity. And yes, there's a cost to it. It is $199 to go see this particular training, right? I can guarantee you whatever you get from that, if you go there, you listen, and you take one thing from it, you are going to make more than $199 in whatever aha you had, whether or not it's a specific conversation starter or objection handler. It is well worth it. And I don't think that you can actually go to any of his events anywhere for $199. He is incredibly expensive. And he doesn't go to many places. They're usually like large events of tens of thousands of people or more. And the region has brought him in to make sure that you guys have an opportunity to hear him. Who is currently signed up?
I think I am.
Yeah, well, we are. Yeah.
I don't count.
No, you count. You definitely count. And Candy signed up. Let me just ask you there's a question?
No.
Oh, how many of you are really good at making calls? One person, Rick. Maybe Heather, if she wants to raise her hand. How many of you are 10 out of 10 at objection handling? How many of you are an 8 out of 10 at objection handling? Why are you not going to this event? And I mean that from like the bottom of my heart, right? I could not ask anyone in this room besides Rick to role play with me if I asked right now, because I can guarantee everyone's gonna be like, I don't feel comfortable with that. Right? If you don't feel comfortable in this room role playing, it's probably a really rough road when you're with your clients, right? Because you're fumbling through that too. So if you feel like any of those questions, you are not at least an 8 out of 10 on them, you should be there. For sure. So Rick, you don't have to go.
Yeah, I mean,
But he should.
Yeah, I'm just
But he
kidding.
should.
There's gotta be, you know, somebody like that, there's gotta be just tremendous value and.
There's
more
so
tools.
much value.
You got more tools, you're more available to, you know, do the prospecting and handle the objections and, yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
You're going.
I'm looking at it right now.
Nice. Rick's going.
Didn't know who he was until you just said it.
To go to like a full day training with him in New York is like $5,000 for the day.
Yeah.
And this includes small group. The $4.99 also has coffee with him in the morning, which is gonna be a really small group. Like, it's gonna be a lot of really like intimate time with him if you just wanted to work on your skills, and which is kind of scary to think about actually, but also like amazing, just to be able to have that region offer that at such a small cost.
I think here's my thing with trainings, right? You guys are all sitting here and you come here because you want some sort of value. Is that right? Like, why do you come to this? Why do you come? You come to get a piece of value. I appreciate that, but you come here every single week for a piece of value. I can't give you nearly what this guy could probably give you in that one day, that one morning. Not nearly the expertise of what this guy has, right? And I would ask you, what's your last real training that you went to? What's your last training? This is like a live question. What's the last training you went to? That's not CE, because we go to CE because it's CE, right? So what's the last training that you all went to? Bold, okay? Who else? A few bold nods.
Leadership. Jake.
Leadership Academy, okay?
Weeks ago.
Working well.
Wealth building, okay? How many of you implemented something from that training? Okay. Has it helped you in your business? Maybe. That's a little different training. So like, I mean, yes and no, right? I think the reason we have such a block about trainings is because we have a mindset when we go to training that's like, oh, it's a training, right? I see people go to the Lafayette Club all the time and listen to these agents that are sitting up on stage that may or may not have a great business, right? But someone has deemed them to have a great business. We go there, we see people, we feel important, it's fun, you know, you get some happy hour, it's great. You leave there and you do nothing. But you wasted 2 hours of your day. I used to do that too. I still do it because I have to go and, you know, chat with their agent, but this is not that. This is not going to be a waste of time. It's not going to be a waste of money. It's not going to be any of those things. Like, it is an actual tactical training, right? Where you're going to learn something that you can implement. It's on you to implement, right? But it's a really good training. And I know that we talk about a lot of trainings. And if you guys were all showing up to all of the trainings, I wouldn't be so passionate talking about this, because usually on average, we have about 10 people at the trainings. And I know you are not all crushing your business so much that you just have no time in the world for it. Okay? Trainings are what gets you to the next level. I promise you that. Or it's just going to take a longer period of time to fail. Which is fine too, but I'd rather see you succeed faster.
Isn't it family reunion 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, he spoke for maybe 30 minutes, maybe 45 minutes.
Yeah.
He was so good, like.
He even has a book that's just real estate related, right? So his first book is Exactly What to Say. His other one is Exactly What to Say for Real Estate Agents. It is about 100 pages and you can get it done in about a 2-hour period of time. I can't make anybody go to this. I just think it would be a really great idea. And I know a lot of people ask for scripting, and I know a lot of people ask for what does conversation, can't say the word scripting anymore, or conversation practice, right? Yeah,
I've actually seen him speak and I read the Exactly What to Say book and part of the Exactly What to Say real estate book. They're great. I would recommend everybody see him at least once in your lifetime and read the books. They're very good. And you can always reference them. I think I took notes in them. It's really good.
if nothing else, he has a great accent.
He does.
I mean, it's a pleasant thing to listen to, if nothing else. Wendy.
I took the MAPS coaching, did a full day training with him and I took that. And I have a conflict on the first or I would be there, but I think what's most helpful about him is how he has learned to ask the right questions at the right time to lead you into deep conversation, which builds stronger connections and stronger, like your arguments aren't arguments anymore because he teaches you how to uncover motivation and other things, and not in a manipulative way, but in a really genuine way. And I think it's so valuable to know how we do that and to strengthen the relationships with our clients and throughout the transactions and all the things.
Well, I think that is an amazing point, right? I think a lot of people go to training, sales training, right? Like I'm gonna go to a sales training. This is a training that gets you into really deep relationship with people, like the questions and how we ask them and his tone and how calm he is. It's like you talking to someone to truly learn about them. And you know the difference of someone that's asking questions on the sales side where it's like, what do you want? What do you need? This, 3 bedrooms? And he's asking like lifestyle questions and he teaches you how to do that. So that's a great point. John, do you want to add anything?
Well, the thing that is amazing, he's actually exclusive to KW.
Yeah,
He is.
that was like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and he'll talk about that. There might be some non-KW people there, I hope, but, but he's remarkable. And like, I think or somebody said, people pay thousands of dollars to hear this guy. And it'd be foolish for you to miss it, so we're gonna be hounding you until May 1st.
I've heard him speak. He's excellent.
He is, he's great. He's really good.
There aren't actually a ton of tickets, so if you are thinking about it, you should probably do it this week because it's not a huge room.
No, it's not a huge room, but yeah. All right. Red Day. Okay, so our normal Red Day providers and places that we go to are either booked or unavailable the day of Red Day this year. You remember Red Day. And
I recruited you guys.
while we were being like, I'm this place, like, and now she's an agent. We just want ideas and we'd love them sent to us for places that we can volunteer that day. And again, we love the fact of being able to be hands-on because part of that day is also coming together as an office, right? Whether or not it's, doing outdoor activities. I don't know, we've done food drives before, but done that all together. So if you know of any places that we can, and it's gonna be 50 to 60 people usually. So it's not like a small group of people that are volunteering. So the place has to be able to house that many or have tasks for that many. Please email us so that we can get some ideas because we need to get that kind of picked and honed in pretty quickly. So if you have any, please send those out to us as soon as possible. If you have the contact information to any of the places and not just the name, that would be awesome. So we can reach out directly to them and use your name. Person to send that to is Candy, because she'll be the one that reaches out. Anything else, Candy? On that? You're good?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so Rick talked about it a little bit. So it's supposed to be the numbers meeting. We are not doing the numbers meeting today because we have some different things that are changing on how we're getting those reports. So we will be doing that hopefully next week because those numbers will be in. What I want to talk about is what is going on in the market right now. We were on a international call on Monday, and it was shocking to me, a stat that was put out that 75% of real estate agents believe that they are going to make what they made last year or more. Okay? I'm gonna ask you a quick question. How many of you believe that same thing?
Is that an Instagram stat?
Oh, that was on the KWRI, so the international stat that was out there from a pool of real estate agents that said,
January? Or,
no, it was from the first quarter. So maybe January, I don't know.
I mean,
Um,
it's a little more optimistic earlier in the year, you know?
That's true. That's very true. That is, it always is. Rick,
You asked a question. What was the question?
if you're one of the 75% that believe you're gonna make the same or more this year that you did last year.
I don't know.
Okay.
Raise your hand.
Okay. Well, I don't think anyone has to raise their hand if they really don't believe that, right? So the question about that is why do we believe one way or another, right? So the people that are like looking at me right now look like they're in panic when I just asked that question. Which when you look at some of the closed transactions, it's probably true. It's true, right? So if you're looking at your first quarter, we're through first quarter right now, right? How many of you are on track of your goals? One?
They will be, if they go to Phil Jones.
It's true. Okay, so first quarter's done. Most of you are not on track. Anybody know how far off they are? 5% off. Okay, percentages. And you can give whatever random percent you want to give, but what percentages are we off? For the first quarter on what your goal was intended for that quarter.
We
5%.
are at least 8% behind.
Okay, 8%. Okay, who else?
Behind goal or behind last year?
Behind your goal for this year, whatever that may be.
Didn't really have a goal, so I guess I get to say I'm probably 35% behind.
Okay, 35%. Okay, who else? The office is about, projection wise of where we should be is about 10% behind of our goal in regards to company dollar and profit. Either we don't want to share, right? Or we really don't know. So there's a few things that we can dissect in this.
Stephanie, on the right.
Yeah. Bethany.
I'm a little concerned because at last week's team meeting, we literally went through an exercise where we figured this number out. Like everyone that was there last week should have this number.
I love that you just brought that up because I was not on last week's team meeting, right? So needless to say, right? So most people are behind. I can see your numbers, okay? So it might not be behind your goal, but I know that you're behind what you did the year before. Okay, so we all, pretend like we're not clothed in the audience because I already know. I know what your numbers are and I watch it very closely because I do care about where you're at in your life and in your business, right? So these are the reasons I ask these questions. That being said, though, we're going into a market that's very interesting, right? So we're sitting there and we're going into a market that has multiple offers, time after time after time, right? And when we go into something like that, it becomes exhausting. Not only does it become exhausting for you as the agent, it becomes exhausting for the buyers because a lot of us will be working with buyers, right? And then all of a sudden they talk to their friend and like, well, I wanted multiples. And then they're like, I don't want to work with you anymore because I feel like we did, 7 offers and now I'm just exhausted and now you don't have a buyer. Does this happen to anyone ever? Or they say they want to take a break. Okay. Yes. Thank you, Heather, for participating. You and Wendy over here. What I want to talk about is how do we get the market share? Because there are transactions happening. People are transacting. There are closed units. When we pull up the numbers next week, you're going to see where the MLS is at, right? And you're going to see where we're at. So there's closed transactions happening. It's out there. So two things. I want to know how we can get that market share, right? And number two, how do we win in the multiples, right? Because that's the other big thing. Inventory is obviously pushing these multiple offers. So how do we get more listings, right? And then how do we win in the multiple offer situation? There's two different things. We've got about 35 minutes. Which one do you want to tackle first? The other one we'll tackle at happy hour.
Or listings. I think listings, obviously listings are selling. If our office gets more listings, listings drive the market.
Okay.
That's just my opinion.
Anybody else? Anybody else have an opinion on that? Anybody have a lot of buyers that they're like, we're losing out on multiples and we want to know how to do that? Does anybody have any business currently? Anybody have any clients? Raise your hand.
How to get more.
Anyone? Okay.
Well, how about you raise the hands of people who have been losing in multiple offers and just be honest, you know, do you have buyers and you've had a struggle and losing in multiple offers? So not a ton.
Alex.
Yes. Yes.
Raise your hand if you want to get more listings.
All right, let's talk about that then. Let's talk about listings. Great idea. We've got some people that are really great at listings right now. You guys have gotten quite a few listings that you're putting on in the next, like, what, week or 2 weeks that you're putting those all on? What are you doing? What are you doing to, and Bethany can probably speak to this if she's still on. What are you doing to generate more listings?
I mean, our marketing game has increased pretty significantly
Okay.
for listing.
Okay. So for the listing, getting more listings from that, okay?
How are you doing that?
How are we doing it?
Yeah, like what specifically are you doing with an existing listing to get other listings?
My brain is not working.
Like when you guys sell a house, do you send something to the neighborhood saying that you sold that house? And when you do opens, do you?
Bethany, there she is.
That's on the spot and I was like, ooh.
I'm so glad you're here. This is how I get Bethany in.
We are not doing any just sold postcards right now, but just budget wise. But we do neighbor open houses, we invite neighbors to our open houses.
Neighbor exclusive.
Neighbor exclusive,
And your door knocking.
and our
to
door
invite
knocking
them?
for our open houses.
Okay.
Yep, circle prospecting has been great.
Our agents are expected to knock and circle prospect 100 houses around every open.
Well, it's worth noting that that's
How many?
way more productive and valuable than
Whatever.
a postcard.
Yeah.
There's no doubt,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Because
we just
people
weren't
get
seeing
lots.
our alliance, so we flipped it.
We run Facebook ads for every listing. We spend a minimum of $100. They usually generate between 20 and 30 leads.
So you're boosting your Facebook ads?
Through our contact management system, we literally run an ad that goes to our website. And then once they're on our website, they click. It's a 2-part verification, which gets a higher conversion because all they're entering first is their name and I think email. And then the second verification goes in their phone number.
I know you guys don't use command, but you can run those through command, through campaign. Paid ads.
And then it brings them into command, so that way the leads are right there.
And then I think what's important about those though is the agents are then expected to double tap is what we call it. So as the lead comes in, it goes into a pond called jump ball. Every agent on the team gets notified, so whoever calls it first gets it. They are expected to call. If they don't pick up the first time, you're expected to call a second time. Then you can leave a message or send a text. But the answer ratio on the second dial is way higher.
Okay, so I can tell what the drunk monkey of some people are right now. I don't have a listing. This is not gonna work for me.
You can run it on anyone's listing.
That's what I was gonna say, right? So every listing in this office is the brokerage's listing, right? What I would do is I would go say, hey, Bethany, I saw you had this listing. Is it okay if I run an ad? It's gonna say listed by Bethany now, you know what I mean? Like, it's gonna say who it's listed by, But that doesn't mean that you can't advertise that. And I would especially just say, hey, can I advertise that? There's no way if I have a listing and someone wants to advertise that to get more buyers into my seller's home, that I'm gonna say no. No way I'm gonna say no to that. Not once. So again, and you know what? If you're like, I don't even want to pay for that, cool. Say, hey, do you mind if I just advertise it and you advertise it to your social media? Right? Hey, listed by blah, blah, blah. Like, there's so many ways you can still do this if you don't have a listing. There are plenty of agents that have listings that don't do these things.
Our team is starting on April 15th, something we're calling basically real estate 75 hard. And the agents are expected to either make 5,000 outbound dials in 75 days, which I'm doing with them, or they're expected to do 50 open houses. And you can do both. And I know of people that have done it, which is why we're doing it. Because if you circle prospector on every open house, let's say you only dial for your open 100 houses, and then you dial the same list after your open house, that's 200 outbound dials per open house.
I said that I was gonna be calm after vacation, and I was all the way through yesterday. But like when we talk about this stuff, it really gets my blood boiling a little bit. And the reason why, right, like what she just said is, when I ask these questions, I really do want participation and I want honesty, right? What do most of us do each day in real estate? If you were to say, like, time-wise, how much time do we spend on lead generating and in real estate?
It's less than an hour for most, less than 30 minutes for even more.
And then we come into this room, right? And we say, I just really want to know how to get more business. Well, first of all, you got to work. Okay? Like, you got to do the work to get to that piece. I mean, I think we listened to Tony and you see his numbers up there, right? That didn't just happen. That happened over years. Shane's still sitting there on the phone every single day, right? Jacob on the phone every single day. It's not difficult, you guys. It's not. It's such a mindset game. It is such a mindset game. And when you sit there and you come in and you say, I need more leads. How many people do you talk to today? On average, how many people do you talk to in a day about real estate? I was on vacation and everyone I talked to on vacation, I talked about real estate. Went on a boat, weren't even my clients, talked about real estate, tried to get someone over from Real up in Canada. I wasn't working. But that's not work to me because I want to talk about that. Like I want to talk about it. I go on vacation. Do I have to go look at properties? I want to look at properties. I want to see how those homes are built. I want to see what that market's like. I want to share that with people. Because I like my job. Like I enjoy my job. Parts of it absolutely suck. Right? But every job has that. This job is no different. And I can guarantee you come in and you do the lead gen and you're going to say, I don't know how to lead gen. Okay, cool. Go on Instagram because you guys all do it. Every single person in here is scrolling on Instagram because I see you watch my stories. Okay, go on there. Ask a question to someone. Start connecting. Make a relationship. Tell them you're in real estate. Hey, market's crazy. Multiple offers. Do you know anybody into the market right now? Frustrated? Someone that's getting into the market? Because we know how to win in these multiples. That's a conversation. You just asked for business and it was actually you just trying to provide value, right? Because all the things we're going to come up with, you guys are going to give me a million reasons why you can't do them. I can guarantee it. And you're going to walk out of here and be like, I can't do this. I don't have a listing. I don't have any friends. I'm from Wisconsin, like whatever it is, right?
Amy, can I run through just a couple of thoughts really quick that has to do with what we're talking about? I think there's a saying that to be successful in real estate, you just need to know what to say.
Phil Jones.
How to say it, which is also Phil Jones, and then just have enough people to say it too. And the reality is that
If we all have a real database of 200 people that know, like, and trust us, and you're engaging with those people once a quarter by phone or more recent, you're doing 2 open houses a week, and you're making 5 social posts, 2 that are personal, 3 that are business, you can be very quickly overwhelmed with real estate. I missed a listing appointment on Monday because I didn't add it to my calendar. That's how inundated I've been lately, because I've been back on the phone. Like, and I'm just sharing that because of personal experience, like I goofed up. And a lot of people won't pick up the phone because they're afraid they're gonna get too busy, like straight up happened to me. Super
It's a horrible problem to have.
It is a horrible problem to have. Well, it's embarrassing, but I'm just telling you, like, I'm just doing exactly that. I'm not doing the opens because I have a database big enough. I don't need to do them. But if you're struggling and you don't have 200 people in your database, the fastest way to get 200 people in your database isn't running a Facebook ad. It's actually doing open houses.
Plain cheaper. When you say that that it's very important to know what to say, I agree. And yet, most of our check-ins with our database are, hi, how are you? And then listening. It's less about what we say and more about how we care. We call people and truly care about who they are, where they are, and how we can be helpful. And if somebody says, I'm having this problem, say, you know what, I have a couple of ideas, let me get back to you. And then call one of us and we'll tell you how to, if their floor is, something's wrong with the floor or they need new shrubbery. I mean, all of us in this room know how to help people with things in their house. And I also have sent people to counselors. I've sent people to doctors. A friend of mine owns a company that has a hyperbaric chamber. And if you have a concussion, that's where you should go. But we've put ourselves in a position to be a resource to people because we truly care about people. And that's what our calls are about. And they know that I sell houses. And when they have a need for that, they call or they refer someone to us, hopefully. But even if they don't, we walk into their life and care about who they are at a very real level. I think that that's a really important part of it.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, like, just because you lead generate doesn't mean that the client is just gonna come walking out the door, right? You're not gonna make 100 calls and be like, I just got 3 listings. Sometimes that happens, right? Like, sometimes you might get 3 listing people that say yes, and you're like, I had 3 listing appointments. And sometimes you're gonna call 1,200 people and get 1,200 no's, right? Like, it is such a numbers game. And I know some people don't wanna think about that, but it is. It is a numbers game through and through. And I'm gonna be so bold to say, if we have numbers for you to call, because people are like, I don't have a huge database, okay? If we were to sit here and for one day, 2 hours, have numbers for you to call, I wanna know who would show up to do that. Who would show up to call? Okay, like 5 or 6 people. If that is the case, I will do that. We will provide the numbers in whatever neighborhood that you want to call in. And we're all gonna come in here, we're gonna practice what we're gonna say to people and call. But what I ask of you guys is if that's the case and we do this, you have to show up. And we have to fail together because you're gonna screw up. You're gonna screw up and you're gonna be like, this is awful after 21 no's. The first no, you're gonna be like, I'm going to the bathroom. And you don't come back, right? I called about a rental for a client the other day because a house didn't close, right? I called about a rental and the guy literally started yelling at me, called me the whatever word you want to think about. And I was like, I'm just calling to see if my client can rent this house, right? He wasn't mad at me that I was a real estate agent. He was just mad at life. I don't want your business. Well, the sign says it's for rent, right? And like the old me would have like yelled at him back, like hardcore. Like I would have been like, listen, guy, and then I would have probably, whatever.
That's the Katie we know.
That was like the old me. You remember those days, and I was like, John, I screwed up. But but I was like, man, this guy's trying to rent his house out, and he just yelled at a prospective renter. That is like, there's something off on that, right? It has nothing to do with me. And that's usually what happens when someone says no, or they just don't want to sell at that time. And who cares? They don't want to sell. You're not going to talk them into selling. Move on. Awesome. That was 55 no's.
Part of our onboarding is people have to do what's called a 1,000 dial day. And they literally can't join the team unless they make 1,000 outbound dials in one single day. And I will tell you right now, it is the best thing for them because you get over that rejection and that fear, and many of them are working with people from those days. And what's cool about it is if you do 1,000 dial day, then a 200 dial day feels like nothing.
Well, and like after like 550 no's, like it like just doesn't matter anymore. You're like, next, I mean, it just doesn't matter. Like it really doesn't. I mean, how many times do you do something like you go work out and then after like 3 months of working out, like it sucks, but it doesn't matter anymore. You just still go. I mean, you just keep doing it. Yeah.
So in an effort to maintain the optimistic and positive attitude that Colleen presented, I think it's important for people to also know that you don't have to have, and Gary specifically says this, you don't have to have a massive sphere to be successful. He says, don't wait until your sphere is 100 before you start reaching out to them. If you have 2, reach out to them. And it's so important to understand that there's a family tree type effect, right? Once you have 1 client, they're referring you to 2 clients, and those 2 clients are referring you to 2 or 3 clients, and those 3 clients are referring you to 6. And it just goes from there. So learning these things when you have 1 listing, do everything you possibly can, to expose that and the success you have with that listing to your sphere, to the public, to the neighborhood, and it is going to, and again, because I don't want people to be disheartened by the idea that, oh, I have only got, 50 people in my sphere right now. I've only got 200 people in my sphere, whatever it is, that's enough to get going right now, and to capitalize on these opportunities.
Well, and most people are on some social site, right? Facebook, Instagram. I think you see how many, I don't have Twitter. Do you have how many people on Twitter? You can see how many people.
I don't hold Twitter anymore.
There's no Twitter.
Yeah, okay.
Obviously not on it.
Anyways, you sit and watch their lives, right? And you don't have to call, like you don't have to make calls. I don't want this to be like it has to just be cold calls, right? But if you want something that doesn't cost money, calls and door knocking or social media messaging is the way. Or open houses, right? Like otherwise it's going to cost money. Ads are going to cost money. Letters are going to cost money. Events are going to cost money, right? So you can do it whatever way you want. So if you want to spend money, awesome. We can find the playbook for that as well. Share yours. You started doing the golden letters, right? Like it's a short amount of time that he's been doing it, but he's like, I'm going to stick to this. We coach to it every single week. Don't send to his neighborhoods because he doesn't like me talking about it, but no, just kidding. But he's gotten calls every single time and it's like, sends it out and he knows when those calls are going to come in when they're delivered. And now he's been doing it long enough where he's like, these people, these questions mean that this is a follow-up for 5 years from now. These questions mean that it might be a 6-month time period. This one is, I need to ask the questions to get the appointment. So you can pick your poison on which way you want to lead generate. But if you think you're going to be in this business without lead generating, and I don't care how unoptimistic you think I am, Rick, you're not going to make it. That's not unoptimistic. That's actually super optimistic. You have to lead gen. You have to get in front of people. You have to have conversations. You got to have relationships, right? Like that's not a negative. That's actually a positive. I might come off like it's negative because I get passionate and I want to help you and I want you to make money. But it's not a negative at all. Bethany. Sorry, Stan.
Sorry, I raised my hand. If you feel like you don't have people to call, go back to whatever social media you're on and look for who said happy birthday to you. And whoever said happy birthday to you, reach out to them and say hello. Because they care about you. For some reason, they're connected to you. Even if you don't know them. Call them up and be like, it has been forever since we connected.
Great point. Great point. And if you have no friends, this is a great opportunity to make new friends.
My granddaughter told me this
Like,
morning.
no, I mean, you laugh at that, but like so many of my clients have become my friends. Like, no joke, right? Like, you spend the most intimate amount of time with them in their place they're gonna call home and entertain and have a lifestyle. They become your friends a lot of times, right? So this gives you an opportunity to make however many friends you wanna make. Like, that's a I mean, now sometimes it's like when a client used to come in, it was like, I can't be friends. Like, there's a lot of people, right? Like, maybe funny, but not really. Like, it gives you an opportunity to do that. All right, besides this, what else are we doing to get listings?
I went through and I called anyone that I've talked to in the last year, went on an appointment with, and they didn't sign. So reaching out to old appointments, has something changed?
And last year, at the end of the year, not everything sold. And so for our buyers, we are looking at the canceled and expired listings as one of the opportunities for them to purchase. And that, if it doesn't work out perfectly with the buyer, then we end up selling the house. But oftentimes you end up, working out a deal kind of on both sides of the transaction, so.
Okay. Kind of back to what you mentioned earlier today around goals and where people are at. It's really important to have a marker of where you want to be by the end of the year and then to share it with your most important people. And I'm very comfortable telling my closest friends and family, we call them our VIPs. I believe everyone should have 10 VIPs that you see once a quarter. And I tell them like my business is ahead or my business is behind or how it's doing. Usually they're business owners and they're also well connected. But straight up having those business conversations with people that understand that referrals are your livelihood.
Well, I think this is a good point, in regards to like what conversations to have without, because some of us are gonna say, I don't really like asking for business, right? Like the real thing, there's a fear in asking for business. If you were to tell someone you wanted to help 10 families this year achieve their home ownership goal, right? And you shared that with someone. If someone shared that with you, what would you do? I know what I would do. I would be like, how can I help you? If I cared about the person, right? If not, I'd be like, cool. They're probably not your VIP, but this allows you to take people that are important in your life and say, hey, this is my goal. And if you ever, know of anyone, I would love your help. And be honest. It's tough building a business. If there is one thing that will get you business, it's authenticity. The moment you're like, man, this is tough. This is a tough business and it's hard to start something up. And there are times that it's not good. And there are times where it's like, man, I had 5 closings and it was awesome, right? If someone came to you and said they lost their job and needed to find a job, would you be like, oh, good luck? No. You'd be like, man, I'm going to ask everyone I know that's in, medical sales. And if I hear of anything, I'm going to connect you. Right? I go back when we're nervous about putting that out there on what your real intention is and what your real vision is for you as a business owner.
Amy, can I role play that with you? Yeah. So let's pretend Amy and I are sitting at coffee and she's a past client of mine, or she can be a good friend, doesn't matter. So we do the whole like, hey, great to see you, how have you been, how the kids, blah, blah, blah. Hey, Amy, I really appreciate you taking the time to grab coffee with me. I loved working with you and helping your family buy your home. And I would really like to work with more people like you, which means that they're probably friends of yours because people are friends with people like them. And I'm just curious, is there anything that would hold you back from referring me to your friends and family if you hear about a real estate need?
Well, I mean, you were kind of a nightmare. So I care about you now. So maybe that, but other than that, no, I mean, you were absolutely amazing for us.
Awesome. I really appreciate that. I feel the same way. So would it be okay if I check in from time to time just to jog your memory on if you heard anyone at work or church talking about making a move?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I guess my question is though, like, how do I, like, would you just reach out to, like, how do I connect you with someone? Cause I mean, people talk about it all the time, you know, we're always at daycare and all the things, so.
Yeah, that's a really common question, and honestly, what would mean the most to me is if you would just started with me and whoever you know. That way, they're in my phone, I know exactly how they heard about me, and Amy, then maybe I can take you to coffee after, just as a thank you for connecting me with someone you care about.
Love that. Like literally that would be how it would go. No one's gonna be like, absolutely not. And if they are, like, well, actually, this is the reservation I have.
Yeah, because
Right? Because now you've gotta have a bold enough, like, hey, I'm gonna increase my business by changing whatever they're gonna tell me. And maybe it's not, right? But it's gonna be constructive criticism coming at you, which is just as good, actually.
you have
Like,
to ask the question. If you just tell them like, hey, it would mean a lot to me if you connected with people, it you're actually not getting the buy-in. When you ask a question, it makes them think. Even if they're not going to tell you if they have a reservation, it's still going to make them think, which actually activates a different part of their brain, neurologically, and cements your question in there that they'll think about in the future.
and luckily we're in Minnesota, so no one's gonna tell you to your face that you can't call them. Like, they're not. So now you have permission to call them
Or if
per
they're,
all of the rules and regulations of reaching out to human beings.
or if they're just, this has happened to me, like, hey Bethany, my brother-in-law just got his real estate license. Thanksgiving would be super freaking awkward if we didn't use him. Hey, I totally understand. The average realtor doesn't last longer than 2 years in the business, and I really hope he does. But if for some reason he doesn't, can I be your number 2?
And does he work at Keller Williams? Because I have a great team lead that would love to talk to him. Rick.
Very quickly share, the most impactful advice that I've gotten about prospecting. And it's gonna go way back. It's gonna age me. So my wife was in real estate before me. She was rookie of the year at Burnett in Burnsville, her first year, got recruited to Remax Metro South, which was just opening. And she then recruited the first 42 agents at that office. A year later, we started our own company together. That's when I got in real estate. And the thing that she told me that I needed to do, I still hear in my brain, and when business isn't going well, I do it. She said, you need to, 50% of the time in prospecting, you need to do the thing that you absolutely despise the most, the thing that you hate. And for me, it was going into the phone book at the time and making the cold calls. The other 50%, do what you do best and what you really enjoy doing. Because then that for me was networking. So you go out, you're doing the networking, I'm having fun, I'm getting clients, and I'm also at the same time, half of it, I'm learning how to get over these major objections of the things I really don't like doing. And that to me created this incredible balance over time. And anytime my business shifts, I go back to that and it's an absolute win. 50-50. So it's not
new.
doom and gloom.
It's noon.
Do the worst thing.
I don't know why you keep saying it's doom and gloom. It's
Or-
literally
and
that
it's
people
not
don't wanna
all-
do
it's
their
not all
job, and I have a
puppies
very
and-
different perspective on it.
Not all
Not doom
puppies
and gloom.
butterflies either.
Colleen.
I have found for myself personally that there are two things that take me off track. The first thing is when I play office. And by that, I mean, I do all of those things that don't make me money, that it's really easy to get lost in. Like, don't you have to have the absolutely perfect, whatever, website, flyer? And if I find myself playing office, I have to do a self-check and make sure I've got my numbers for my calls. The other thing that gets me off track is, it's really easy to get caught in the, I don't have somebody that I can call right now. And if you get caught there, the best person for your next phone call would be Katie, because she will tell you who to call. She'll tell you who to connect with, and she'll keep you on track. And she will not be, she'll be direct about it, which I appreciate.
Again, I shared this with Heather yesterday. Some people probably think I'm not like happy and doing, you know, jumping jacks and clapping and telling you you're doing a good job. I'm not going to tell you that if you're not doing the job in the first place. Okay, so I'm the wrong person to come to if that's what you want. What I'm going to do is I'm going to help you get to the place that you want to be. And when I was on vacation, I sat there and I was like, these people are happy, right? So I was in Huatulco, Mexico. They're really happy. And then I was like, man, my life's pretty great at the opportunities that we have. And my kids, first time out of the country, same thing. First thing my middle daughter asked is, what's the minimum wage down here? There is none. Then we went to the construction site and they were literally sleeping in hammocks for a year until that place is done. Got fed breakfast and lunch. They were on their own for dinner and they made $400 a month. It's 90 degrees, okay? And I'm like, why am I in this role? Why am I in real estate? Why? Because the opportunity is absolutely endless. Not just here locally, everywhere. Everywhere it is endless. And it is incredibly simple if you have the determination, the discipline, and the goal to do it. And there's no better place than KW. Our cap is $16,000 and you have every tool at your fingertips. Y'all are going to ask where they are, but it's in command in all the playbooks. This is not a market problem. This is not a real estate problem. This is a you problem. You got to determine what you want. And are you willing to do the things to get what you want? Or are you going to make excuses and then complain about it? It's super easy. And trust me, I've been in this spot before. I've complained a million times why I have not grown this market center to 200 people. And guess what? That's going to frickin' change. There's no reason. There's absolutely no reason we're not there. And if you have a goal, there's no reason you're not there either, because it can be done. And it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be always professional. You're not going to, I was talking to someone yesterday. And I was like, you're going to go to showings with babies. I guarantee it. You just had a baby and you're going to go to the showing and it's going to be okay. I watch you guys run around like chickens with their head cut off before a showing. So don't tell me that like you sit there and you prepared for hours. You don't. You forget because you were out having happy hour the night before and binge watching Netflix. That's okay too. But realize why you're in the place you're in. It's choices. Choices every single day. I believe in each and every one of you. And I'll give you the tools. I'll sit down. I'll talk to you. I'll find the right places. I'll give you places to call leads, right? I'll give you the numbers to call. I'll show you how to door knock. I'll do all of that. But I can't want it more than any of you in this room. And I can't do it for you.
Is it okay if we're binge watching $1 Million Listing New York?
No. It is not.
LA?
So I appreciate all of you.
There's some good.
I'm gonna throw this out there. If anyone is interested in going crazy on some lead gen and you want to commit to 5,000 dials in 75 days, our team would love to have you participate with us.
Can we like do an office wide 75 hard?
Oh yeah. Like real estate version, or are we talking like the real one?
I like how you asked me that question. Yes, the real estate one. We could do the other one if you want to. I'm in.
It's a fitness mental challenge. Anyway, but yeah, if anyone wants to do it, just reach out to us. We'd love to have you. We're gonna be doing a couple different like.
When does it start?
April 15th, so next Tuesday.
Oh, when everybody's taxes are done. Yeah, right. Okay. Thank you. That's an awesome opportunity. Like, it's an awesome opportunity. Let's do wants and needs if we got any. Done. Awesome. That means it's lead gen day.
I have a,
Just kidding.
I have a listing coming up in Chanhassen listed at $850. It's 5 bedrooms, over 4,500 finished square feet. Pristine. It is been lived in by a master gardener, so it's not just the house that's in perfect condition, it's the yard. If you know somebody who wants to live in Chanhassen, well, yeah, it's still Chanhassen, but it's close to Chaska. Let me know. I'd love to walk you through
What's the
there.
price on that one?
$850.
Is anyone hosting an open house that wouldn't mind somebody shadowing them this weekend? Fantastic.
I would reach out, Jordan Hinman on our team crushes open houses. He usually converts 2 to 3 people per open house. He's doing an open on Saturday in Coon Rapids.
I would also say about Jordan, Jordan will say that he's an introvert. Like, and he crushes open houses. So like, he's not the one that's in a crowd to go up and start talking to people. And he nails an open house for sure.
Introverts are the best salespeople because we listen.
Very true. Were you referring to yourself as an introvert, Rick? Oh, okay. I was like, I'm sorry.
I think if you ask for a raise of hand, who's talking to Jordan in the room, maybe.
What else? What other wants and needs do we have?
He's definitely.
I got a townhouse in Burnsville, probably gonna be on around 3:30. It's a 332. Very, very well cared for. It was built in like 2016. So got any Burnsville buyers, you know?
Awesome.
Golden Valley coming on, probably the 24th. We're gonna go in at 5:5. It's a 4, 3, 4, 2, 2.
And if anybody just heard of anyone that had a listing and you're like, hey, if you ever need help with an open or you want me to door knock around it, this would be the time to start connecting as agents, right? And say, I'll door knock around your house or your listing. And if someone says, hey, I got a buyer need, I'll door knock for that buyer.
And remember, Scott Leroy can do the marketing for you. So you just have to fill out
That
the
too.
form and they'll email you all of the door knocking supplies that you need. You don't have to do it.
A really nice long lake one, 3-bed, 3-bath. I think I mentioned it last week, 465-ish, nicely renovated, mostly new siding.
Are you doing an open there?
Just not on yet, waiting for a tenant to move out.
Awesome.
I'm a good possible buyer.
They're a great house.
All right. Go have an awesome week.
Send those to me.
But yeah, send your wants and needs to Lydia. By what time? 2?
Are we up 3 numbers or?
Yeah.